I don't care. I don't care.
She's crowning
right now.
And then
they're like, oh
the
gosh.
nurse is like, oh, doctor. And then doctor was like, don't push.
Oh yeah, doctor
push.
ran in like, don't push. I told you 10:30. This is 10:25 or whatever it was. Bienvenidos a nuestro canal. Yo soy Pablo. And we are Familia Pablanu.
Apa sổn yung bán bà ta gì?
Es que tomate parece como aguacate.
Then it was a 12-week.
So we'll talk a little bit about Elena's birth.
Yeah, pregnancy and birth.
A ver, Elena, ¿cuántos años tienes? 4.
Yeah.
Our little Elena and Bella were both born in the hospital.
Oh, in the hospital.
Yep,
Yeah.
both born in the
I thought you were
hospital.
gonna say where.
No. Both born in the hospital. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of our experiences, and especially starting off, I had always been looking at things like, home births and self-birth and things like that
Yeah.
in college. I don't know why, but I was interested in things like that in grad school.
I think you told me when we got married or something. Like,
Yeah.
oh, are you weird or something?
And I think we looked into, at least for our second birth, I know we looked into
Yeah.
like home birth and
Mhm.
stuff. Maybe even with Elena, I can't remember. But I don't think so. I think with Elena, I was like, okay, first birth.
To be safe.
Right, just to be safe. We don't know how your body worked then. We didn't know how
Right.
things worked. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay, let's do it in the local hospital. And so we did.
So rewind. We.
Oh, yeah.
It was. So we got married in 2017, and fast forward 3 months after that, when you came back from Spain, and you got a 20-pound souvenir on you, 20-pound heavier,
20-pound what?
heavier,
Oh, it's
heavier.
a lot of that good northern Spanish food. ¿Quieres comer este tomate además? No,
Anyways.
tienes que esperar.
So, and then when we found out we did, the pregnancy test, I just felt weird. Something just doesn't seem right with me. And not too long after that, it's just, the symptoms came up, and throwing up and all that good stuff.
I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely
It was
a
awful.
shock. Okay, yeah, it was pretty awful.
It's really awful.
Yeah, and you couldn't really eat anything.
Oh gosh, no.
I remember
I was able to feel the baby at 8. She was at 8 weeks, and then we did an ultrasound. The first ultrasound at 9 weeks. I told you, the baby was jumping. I can feel the baby boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And of course, we saw in the ultrasound there was a jumping beam, boom, boing in there. It was fun.
that was hilarious. I
Yeah.
hope they still have that. No,
We didn't do video.
No, they didn't
They
allow
didn't allow
video.
video, but we
but
have
I still remember it. It's very clear in my mind. It was like a little jumping beam just going.
I'm like, I felt that.
I was like, what the heck? Literally jumping beam. And she was nothing but a spine and a little head, like a tadpole.
Yeah,
That was all she
jumping.
was at the time. Because it was what? You said 9 weeks?
9 weeks, yeah.
9 weeks, 10 weeks, around there.
Yeah. Anyways, after that,
It's crazy. Never seen that in my life. I was like, this kid's gonna have energy.
yeah. Oh yeah. And then
Okay,
and
she
then
does.
and then after that, we scheduled the next appointment and all that stuff. So everything was fine, and I was gaining weight, swelling, gaining weight, and all that.
Yeah.
And second trimester
Not
came
good
up.
weight. Not
Oh
really
gosh,
good
I
weight.
was I was swollen.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyways, the 20 weeks
Teeny
anatomy. Toby going. The
Saba.
20 weeks anatomy ultrasound came by, and we saw, and it was like, and they said, what did they say? They said, oh, this baby's not growing a little bit smaller than gestational for gestational time or gestational age. Yeah.
So I mean, they were kind of basing that off of different factors.
Yeah.
But it was like from the 9 week to the 20 week. They're like, she didn't grow like we would expect. I was like, okay, is everything else okay? You know, kind of worried. Well, not really worried, but just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But yeah, so that kind of stayed. That kind of stuck for a while.
Yeah, and they kept saying
Yeah.
that, like, okay, we have to monitor things from now on, and you have to.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
every single ultrasound after that, we did a ton of ultrasound.
We did a lot
I mean, we did
every
ultrasound
other
after
week
ultrasound.
or so, and it was pretty
Yeah,
consistent.
she was
She was-
absolutely consistent.
And
She
I
had
kept telling
perfect
them.
graph and everything. You had a horrible headache. And
Oh,
you're like,
gosh.
this is meningitis.
I was actually at work. I
Yeah,
was at the clinic,
I remember.
and then I called you and you came, and we had a doctor's appointment, urgent care there at the place, and they were like, okay, it seems like your electrolytes are low, so you have to drink more fluid, drink more things rich in electrolytes. I had like electrolyte, okay, Powerade,
So I went out and I bought all this Powerade with like
Sugar.
tons of sugar in it. That did, and salt, you know.
Oh yeah.
That did not help your swelling at all.
Oh,
It helped your
gosh.
headache.
Oh yeah, but I was still, I kept swelling more
It's so
and more.
crazy. Like nowadays, I look back, and I'm like, just eat some bananas
Mhm,
and
like-
drink enough water.
Orange, if you want, banana, orange.
Yeah,
drink
oranges,
water,
kiwi,
and
whatever.
fresh
Get some potassium.
vegetables.
Get some natural salts. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways, we didn't know that back
we
then.
did not, and then
So
if
you just kept swelling,
yeah,
kept
the swelling
swelling.
didn't go down.
and your feet were like, I would touch them and it'd be like squish, and then it wouldn't come back up. It would just stay squished in and like slowly.
Oh, that was
It was
awful
terrible.
time.
Yeah.
And at 32 weeks, is it 32, close to 32, 34 or something? So we went to see a doctor, and another appointment, and they said she barged in and said, you didn't know? They didn't tell you? Well, with what I'm seeing here, we're gonna give you a steroid shot, and the baby will be taken out, will be delivered at 37 weeks, and you can't go past 37 weeks. We're
Basically
like,
told
"Wait,
us what was gonna happen, and I was like,
what?
I mean, I was kind of scared, you know. I was like, what?
And then they started asking a question. Steroid shot. I know it's gonna help the lungs of the baby, but what is the potential risk of causing diabetes later in life or things like that? The doctor waited a few moments. No, it's okay. It doesn't have side
She
effects.
paused though. She
Yeah.
paused because she was.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I mean, you can talk about that if you want, but about
It's
the
okay.
charts.
Oh, yeah. I guess on my chart, we've always gone back and forth on this. So they see my chart and they will say, is it black or African American? So they already have a stereotype on that. So the fact she badged in and asked, the fact that I'm asking questions, she kind of like got taken back. Why are you asking questions? This is how it is.
Yeah.
You don't ask questions about those things. So I'm like, no, I'm in this field too. I'm in this medical field.
Right.
You can't. But yeah, they get shocked every time. And I even told them, I don't want this thing on my chart because it already skewed their
Yeah. Right, because they have
perception of me.
stereotypes.
No,
They have stereotypes, and they also have data-driven or data-based,
Yeah.
stereotypes. So they'll have like, African American or
Yeah.
black or whatever they call people
Right.
nowadays. I don't know. They would just say, oh, look,
And then, yeah, this-
therefore you most likely have pre-existing conditions of
Yeah.
this, that, and the other thing. Therefore, we're gonna just
gonna
give you these recommendations,
Right.
which aren't recommendations, and basically
they're
do
telling you.
this.
Yeah, they tell you.
We're gonna do this for you,
Right.
and it's like,
And
no,
I told them, just tell me.
I'm a human too.
To take away the demographics of the African American and all
Right.
this stuff. But the thing is, the next doctor visit, all of a sudden it pops up again and it says, "Oh yeah, African American or black or
Crazy.
something." I'm like,
It's crazy.
take it away, and it goes and it comes back again. So
Mhm.
it's the cycle of doing this
Yep.
thing. And I worked in that in that doctor's office before, so I know how it works and all that
And
stuff.
it's a little caveat, but yeah,
Yeah.
basically every doctor we go to, pretty much every place we go to,
yeah, they already
except our
have
current doctor, thankfully, but
that.
every
Yeah.
place we go to, they would just look at me or look at my wife and then write down race
Mhm.
stuff, and I'm
Mhm.
like, what the heck? What is this? Like,
So
are we
right-
in like some sort of
Decline or human
like
beings.
Jim Crow era crap? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? So I tell my, like I went in, I think I was registering one of our daughters in a hospital here,
Yeah.
and they just write down her race. It says like white, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, what is this? You see me walk in and you write down my daughter's, like, how
Oh
does
my
this even work?
gosh, That's
Like, there's no
awful.
question. Like, people don't question. They just put you in boxes, right?
Mhm,
It's just
mhm.
like, anyways,
Okay, that's for
a
another
caveat.
day. That's for
day.
another day. So and then they
Anyways,
said, okay, they told us all these things. And we're like,
Right.
no, we don't take that. I started crying, like, why is she
Yeah.
telling us this thing? Because the thing is, even though all these things, they're saying all these things, I was able to feel this baby since 8 weeks. And the thing is, the only way you can know the baby is actually okay is how active they are. Other than that, you can't really tell much unless you show ultrasound shows a placenta previa or things like that. You really don't know what they have. You can't really tell of the severity of a heart defect or anything at all. You can't tell
Even
it
the
until they come out. Even the measurements are off.
Especially when you have a different
Yeah.
person every time, and when you have a little jumping
Right.
bean like that, I don't know how you can measure like from that
You're
to.
saying that
It makes no sense, but they based
Oh.
everything off of
it
that
was awful.
because it's like, okay, that was the only like issue in the chart,
Yeah,
right? Was
yeah.
from the 9 week to the 20 week, and it's like
Yeah.
she was a jumping bean. How did you measure her
Mhm.
to that? And it's like,
And
okay,
I-
so that's the issue. Everywhere else
Yeah.
is like perfectly consistent.
I
She's
kept telling
small,
them. I
but
kept
yeah.
telling them, they're consistent, and I know that this baby is very active. There's not a dull moment. Very active every day. So
Right.
I know the baby is fine. I know where to. And then they said we should come every other week to do non-stress test and to do just to do an ultrasound to see the baby is fine and all this stuff. And we'll go there
But
very frequently.
you missed something. So after that,
Mhm.
being told what we were gonna do,
Oh yeah.
right? You say, okay, this is what we're gonna, you're gonna do this and that, yeah. And I
I would
was like,
decline that,
I mean,
yeah.
I was kind of afraid at first, or at least like blown back. I'm glad you had your head about you enough
Because
to at
I'm in
least
the
ask some
medical
questions.
field in that sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
but after that, once we were talking about it, and I was
Mhm.
realizing, wait a minute, what? No, they're not supposed to tell us what we're to do.
Yeah.
We know what we want to do, and
Oh,
we're not supposed to be told. So then I went and tried to find a different doctor, right?
oh yeah. Did we leave
So we
after
ended
that?
up moving
Oh, we
to
did. We did.
another
Yes. Mhm,
another
mhm.
clinic, same system and everything.
different
Different clinic,
clinic. Yeah.
and they were
yeah.
really good. I
They
told
were.
them why we came. I
Mhm.
told them why we left the other one, just because they were not being very respectful,
Yeah.
and we're just telling us what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
And they were really good because of that. They were like, okay,
So
we
yeah,
will
they
offer
just said,
these things.
Right,
We'll
so
recommend these things.
they just follow. They said we just monitor, and
Right.
that's all we'll do. So that we go
They were
every
pretty
other week for non-stress tests, and baby is always fine. Always jumping and always
Yeah.
fine. Oh, Bella today.
Hola, Bella. So we went to classes.
Oh yeah, we took like a
couple
week,
weeks.
a week class, a week long
Yeah,
class.
4 days,
Mm-hmm.
like 4 different weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like 4
Yes.
different weeks. So we took that at the hospital, and it was really good. It was
really good.
a
Was it
doula, a young doula was teaching it,
Yeah.
and she taught a lot of basic stuff, a lot of
Yeah.
things that stuck with us, but didn't really change us yet.
Yeah.
But there were things that I already kind of knew and that were helpful, which is, when you're in the hospital, you are in control.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do what the doctors tell you. They could
Yeah.
say, "Oh, we need an emergency C-section." You can say, "Wait up, why?"
Yeah. And
You
things
know,
like that.
and you can say, "No, let's hold off for a bit."
Because
Like,
the
how's my wife
hospital.
doing? You're doing okay. Okay, let's hold off for a bit.
Yeah, they're on a time crunch. They gotta
Right.
they need to get the next patient in, and the next money
Yeah.
making.
I mean, there's
patients.
a lot of factors. I mean,
Yeah.
they're under a lot of pressure. Doctors are, not just because they're human and they're working shifts that are really crazy.
Crazy shift.
At the hospital, especially the doctors we had, because they took rotating shifts. So it's not
Mhm.
like they always did night shifts. It's just, they might randomly have a night shift one
Mhm,
month,
mhm.
and so they're just way
Yeah.
out of it. I mean,
Mhm.
imagine, traveling to another country. It's like 6-hour time difference or something. That's kind of what they're going through. So yeah, they got those issues. Then also the fact that if someone dies under their watch, that's a
Mhm,
problem.
mhm,
Or
mhm.
if a child dies, or if there's a problem, any sort of problem, they're gonna feel like it's on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, they could get sued for stuff and things
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
So they're watching out for their own behind.
Right. So they're very careful,
Very careful.
very overly careful.
Mhm.
And there's been studies about these things. And that's one of the things that they showed us in the
Oh yeah, in the
in
class.
the classes, is they
yeah.
said these studies have been shown where they'll show these what do you call it, like the
the
stress test stuff?
Stress,
No, what do you
like
call the heart rate or
the
whatever
heart
of the
rate
baby?
of the baby, how in distress.
Right, during labor. And so they
During
would show
labor.
these different charts to these doctors.
Yeah.
Like all these doctors, and say, okay, where is distress? Where is distress? Do you see
Yeah.
a child in distress here? And the doctors very
It
considerably.
varies.
Every doctor was different. Then I think it was like 6 months later, they showed the
Mhm.
same doctors the same charts, and within the same doctor, their
Mhm.
responses were different. So it's like, okay, this is not an exact science, and it also is based on how fearful the doctor is, or maybe their own experience and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, okay, you can't really tell. And also, when a baby is going into the birth canal and they're getting squished, their heart rate's gonna slow down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna happen. It's not, but it's not. I mean, it's normal.
Yeah, when the contraction happens, it slows down, especially when the head is coming out. But the thing is, it will go back up as soon, because you have contraction and then it release and you relax.
Right.
So when you relax, the heart rate is supposed to come back up to normal, to their normal. And if it doesn't, then that's a problem. But usually when they're going in, it will definitely drastically, it will slow down.
I mean, if they're already in the birth canal, you really shouldn't stop it at that point.
No, it's already there. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. Oh, we'll talk about that.
But anyways, so a couple other things that we learned from that class was, that we can say no to things.
Right.
We don't have to just agree to everything. And it's actually better because it's your body and you can actually feel it and know kind of, okay.
And that's when it taught us about the augmentation.
Right, we learned about augmentation versus induction.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So we were like, oh, augmentation, like popping the bag of waters and stuff.
And then they did, we didn't learn about this membrane sweeping yet.
Did they mention membrane
I don't think they mentioned it. Yeah, maybe not.
They might, I can't remember.
So we learned about this augmentation. And
and also about walking.
Oh, yes.
And they said, walking, moving, you do not want to be on your back in a bed. Absolutely not. And the crappy part is, if you get any sort of, what do you call that? The spinal tap things like that.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
You get very invasive things like
that.
You have to stay on the bed, right? Which is awful, because then how is the baby going to come out?
And even with that, there's a way to, move and have nurses help to rotate and move, and there's always a way.
So one of the ultrasounds we got that was supposed to be for like anatomy, they were like, oh, we can't quite see
the heart, the ventricle fully. Of the heart or something.
And I'm like,
well,
had it been good before? And they're like, or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but they were like, oh, we can't see this particular ventricle because of how she's turned. And they were like, oh, we can recommend you to go to
specialist.
Children's Hospital and the capital.
Oh, this was actually from a specialist. Remember? It was
she was a specialist too because we were scheduled on a Sunday. So anyway, so all these things, by the way, for dads out there who are getting ready for things like this, just know that when doctors recommend things or when they schedule on a Sunday for a special, whatever, when they do these things or they say, oh yeah,
no, it wasn't on a Sunday. That was a different.
It's happened before.
Right.
But anyways, when they schedule for, how about Sunday? That kind of fits time wise, all this kind of stuff. Or they send you to a specialist to check things out, things like that. If they do that, they don't know price.
No.
And it's not going to be covered by insurance. Just because a doctor recommends it doesn't mean it's covered by insurance. Maybe a little, but that's it.
Still
it's
probably very expensive.
Yes. So I ended up paying about as much for that one ultrasound that ended up showing, it hurts you because the man was like shoving it in.
And then the baby was squirming and it was just hurting. Yeah.
And so, it hurt, and it also cost as much as the whole birth. Actually, I think it cost more than the whole birth because I remember getting 2 bills and I was like, wait, these are almost identical.
It's from the other hospital.
Yeah, and it was from another hospital. Children's hospital. Yeah. So I was like, what? So don't just agree thinking that insurance is going to cover it because it's recommended.
Right.
Just that was my learning moment there. Was getting the bills and realizing what. Because I was just like, oh sure, yeah, it's all going to be paid for, sure, yeah.
and then moving on, so we went to the hospital.
Well, no, then they kept us doing the weekly and bi-weekly, all this kind of stuff.
Right, twice weekly when it goes to
and I was like, hey, we're gonna go
we're
drive.
Traveling. Yeah, we're going on a road trip.
2-day road trip, 2 days one way, 2 days the other way, driving to Texas.
Right.
And I'm like, to visit some family there. And I was like, so we're gonna do that?
Yeah.
And they were kind of shocked.
They're like, we recommend to not do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. I was like,
it's not safe.
I was like, no worries, I hear you. But I asked you, okay, how do you feel? Are you doing okay? And you're doing okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I feel good. Just swollen.
Very
just
swollen.
Need to get some pressure socks or whatever. What do you call those?
Socks.
Compression socks.
Yeah, that didn't do much anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, we did that.
Yeah, and then we came back.
It was okay. The swelling wasn't fun.
No.
But
But we came back, and oh yeah, and then we had our first year anniversary there. And,
Oh yeah.
remember that I had prodromal label at starting like 37 weeks. The Braxton prodromal.
Prodromal labor. right?
Prodromal. Yeah. So
Okay.
at 30.
I don't know how to
Before
spell
then, it was Braxton Hicks, but then at 37 weeks, it started becoming, labor, intense pain, and all this, contraction and stuff. And every doctor's appointment, I would dilate 1 centimeter. The next one, 1 centimeter. And then by 40 weeks, which was the due date, we went to doctor's appointment, said, okay, your blood pressure is a little bit high. So you should go to the hospital just to check you. Since you're due already and you're already 3 centimeter, let's see what can happen, So we went ahead and went to the hospital. I think we got our
I was starting
luggage.
to feel a little sick at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Did we have a luggage? Oh, no. I don't know.
no, I think we had our luggage already packed because, first time parents. Like,
We
"Ooh,
get
let's have all of
ready."
our stuff packed and ready. And so we had that
Yeah.
at the apartment. And so I think we just went there straight.
Oh, okay,
I think we
okay.
just went there straight. We might have eaten something and then went there.
Yeah, so we arrived at the,
Yeah.
at the
And I was
hospital.
starting to feel a little bit sick.
You
A
were,
little
yeah.
bit sick, like cold, something starting. Felt kind of weird.
And so when we arrived there, they checked. They said the blood pressure was still high. The exact due date, we went for a doctor's appointment that day, and my blood pressure, I was already swollen. By this time, I've gained 40 pounds.
Mainly water weight. but
Mainly
yeah.
water weight.
Wait, compared to your most recent?
Oh, yes. How much did I gain? 20 something?
And the baby was
8
like
pounds?
2 pounds heavier than Elena?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was all water weight.
Yeah, so they I lost my brain of
Train
Yeah.
of thought.
train of thought. The check, you said right now you are 4 centimeter, and we will keep you an eye on you here, check you for a few more hours, see if your blood pressure goes down. So they waited a few more hours, and the blood pressure didn't go down, and then they said they're gonna break my water, the bag of water, since I was already 4 centimeter. So, and then they said, okay, you can go because your blood pressure is high. I'm like, okay,
Right.
the next few hours, if you check again, if it's still high, can I go? Said, at this point, let's just do augmentation. Let's break the bag of water. You're already 4 centimeter, and it's due date. Let's see what happens. We're like,
Right. I mean,
Okay.
they said they would stay a little bit longer.
right, we did
I
stay.
think, I think what they, I think we had to decide whether we would be, what do you call that? Registered? No. What do you call that?
Checked in.
Checked
To be
in,
Checked
yeah,
in because it was a outpatient type
Right.
stuff, like a.
So finally, when we decided to get checked in, because your blood pressure was still high
Was still
after
high.
however long, right?
Yeah.
Again, all the swelling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But once we decided to do that, I was falling pretty ill at the time, and I was like, okay, I'll go.
To get the clothes. Yeah, I
I'll
remember I
go
was by
get the
myself.
clothing and stuff, and,
I was
and get
seeing-
some food.
Yeah, I was in the helicopter pad, landing right next to
Yeah.
the window.
You were kind of chill. You were
I
just
was
like,
chill.
oh, no. And I
Yeah,
think,
that
I
was
don't-
before they broke up the water.
yeah. Did they bring food for you? They didn't bring food for you.
No,
but you had all
they
these.
said I couldn't eat.
But I brought snacks and stuff,
Chips
yeah.
and ice chips as well.
Yeah,
was
drinks
going
and
on.
stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was feeling awful. Finally brought everything back to the hospital, just like, and that comes into
And
play
then-
pretty much
then-
throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah, and then they broke. It was 12 midnight, and they broke the bag of water, and then I slept.
Yep.
I
Slept, but
for like
then you woke up.
for about 30 minutes or an hour.
I couldn't
And
really
then
sleep.
I
I was so sick.
Woke up because
Well,
of
because
the
you were
pain.
still having contractions. You were still having contractions at that point, you started having contractions.
But wasn't strong enough to
Yeah.
not make me.
But I just
yeah.
remember I couldn't
Oh,
sleep
yeah, I could
because
sleep
you
for
were
a
like
little while.
squeezing my
I mean,
hand.
that's later on.
Are you
So-
sure?
so
Okay.
when
It's
the-
all blurred to me.
Yeah. So
I'm
when
so
the contraction started, and it just woke me, and I'm like, okay, this is it. This is a long run. After this, there's no stopping from here on. So it got intense, and we walk, and you were a little bit out of it to go walking
Yeah.
here and there, and
Yeah.
when the transition hit, it felt unbearable because I didn't have any pain medication, and they broke the water.
That was
This
at
is-
like 4 a.m. or something, wasn't it?
yeah, close to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And this is
We were really
advice for
tired.
women. If you have a choice, don't let your bag of water be broken artificially, artificial rupture before you're close to 10 centimeter, because it's almost unbearable. The pain was like, no, I remember saying, I can't do this. This is too much. It was really painful. And then I remember at the class, they told us you have to find a way to channel this pain, like think about things differently. So I remember going, I was laying on on the bed like that. I was feeling the different texture of the bed cloth versus the chair or things like that. And then sometimes I would bite my knuckle, and just to make sure, to transfer the pain that I'm feeling somewhere else, so this is not too intense. It was really, really awful. It was almost unbearable, and I was like, I can't do this. And I would hold on to you, hold on to you. Help me. You're like,
and I was like trying to sleep,
and you wake up.
because it was awful, because I would try to sleep. We would both try to sleep.
Yeah.
And you could sleep. You could knock out like that.
I sleep for a little
So
bit
by the
until
time, so you would knock out
contraction
immediately.
comes back,
I
yeah.
would almost be asleep, and then you would have a contraction. You would wake me up and like be slapping me, like, "Why are you sleeping? Why are you sleeping?"
In my mind, okay.
And then I'm like,
this
"Oh
is
gosh,
what's going on in my mind?" I'm like, see, I'm going through this pain, and here, just slipping away, and just. I wish
But
you
it was
could
like the
feel this
sleeping
pain.
pattern was. Why are you sleeping? Why are you sleeping?
I'm like, I wish you could feel this pain.
Yeah.
As I hold on, come on, help me.
Squeezing my hand
help me.
every moment.
Anyways, that was right after that, when and then there was a moment where there's it's going in and out. So the baby 2 steps out, 1 step in. The pulsation is happening, and then not too far after that, not too long after that, it was so intense, and then it was almost time to push. I felt the urge, like, okay. So I'm like, okay, I need to poop. And then
I was calling the
nurse.
nurses, because like the night before, if I pressed the button, nurses would come, or nurses would answer. Right? They would say, yes, what do you need? But then in the morning, when I pressed it, because it was like maybe 9 o'clock, 8. No, the doctor had come.
Oh yeah, the doctor
had come at like
checked.
8 when they changed the shift.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh, hey," and it happened to be like one of the doctors that we knew.
And I said, "Okay, I promise you, this baby is coming around 10:30 a.m. That's what give it 2 more hours, because she checked."
Yep.
I'm like, okay.
And then she went and was helping other women who were giving. So then I pressed the button again, and it just would turn on and then turn off. And I was like pressing it again, turn on, turn off. And then finally, I was like, "What the heck?" And then I had to clean up everything, you pooped, and I had to clean up all that stuff. And I felt like I was doing all the work.
Birthing is not all that graceful like they think it is,
Actually, I think you did most of the work. I just kind of grabbed a couple of pads.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, here you go, put it in the trash over there.
Yeah. But anyway, you were really good. You had a lot of.
And I had the and then it was time, and I got the squat bar to do a squatting position on, and they came in. And it was like the Hollywood side.
I looked, and I saw Elena's head.
Oh yeah, you did.
I saw her hair and everything, and I was like,
and you said,
"Oh,
that's her head."
Like,
no, we don't know it's a woman. It's a girl. We didn't know it was a boy or girl.
But then I was like, "Okay."
Head.
So I was like, "I'm not pressing that button anymore."
So you went out.
I'm just gonna walk out. So I walk out, and they're like, "Yeah, you have to say something, right?" I just kept pressing the button. I was like, "I don't care.
She's
crowning right now."
And then
they're like,
"Okay." The nurse was like, "Oh, doctor," and then doctor was like, "Don't push."
Doctor ran in like, "Don't push. I told you 10:30. This is 10:25 or whatever it was." She was like, "You're too early.
Don't push."
Yeah. Maybe it was like 10.
And then she was trying to put her the lab coat, to scrub on, put a scrub on,
putting all the
and the nurse was trying to help her with all doing.
Yep. And then they wheeled in all these like metal saws and things on a platter.
The medical equipment for a
all
surgery.
These knives and stuff.
And I'm like, I saw that being rolled
in.
Oh yeah,
you
and
immediately.
I froze.
Yeah, you're like.
And I remember asking, who are those for? And they said, no, don't look at it. It's just for emergency. I'm like, oh crap, there's gonna be an emergency.
I was like, can you cover those?
And so they cover it.
Can you cover those? But yeah, that stopped everything. So then the doctor finally was like, okay. Anytime now.
No, I had that fear, and I couldn't. I know I need to go to a safety place in my
They also
instinct.
kind of put you in a weird position, because you were like, sort of on your back, but sitting, go with your legs up.
But
That's
then
kinda
I was able to grab onto the squat when it's time
Okay.
to push. But sometimes I need to relax a little bit because
Right, it
I
was
was,
kinda
I was
weird.
hurting. I was, tired. I need to relax my legs. So
But yeah, the doctor's just like,
Yeah.
anytime now. I think it spent
I
think it was like
froze.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes with nothing.
I just froze.
And I was like, it's okay, hon. It'll come when it comes. And the doctor was like,
Anytime now.
yeah.
Anyways, so when the head finally was, I felt the dilation, the
Yep.
was what you know, widening.
Well, the doctor was still like, okay, just push. I'm just kidding. But anytime now. But
And
I'm just
you
joking. I'm just
feel
joking.
the urge to push.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling it yet.
Whenever you feel the urge, but do it.
So when the urge came, I pushed the head. I didn't feel
Yeah.
any pain. It was just like
Mhm.
stretching a little bit. The head came out, and then one more. It's like, give me one
So,
more push.
so the head came out. So
Mhm.
first time dad,
Mhm.
and I saw the head come out, and I'm just like, okay, baby thing, right? Didn't mean much to me, right? But then you pushed again,
And then the whole body
and
came
swoop,
out. Oh yeah.
and she was very obviously a girl, and I just broke down. I was like, oh, she's a girl, and I was just crying.
After the baby came out, they're like, okay, you're still bleeding, and we're gonna have to give you a pitocin shot. They didn't even ask; they just did tell
This
me,
woman
okay,
was very brisk.
put it on
very
the
brisk.
leg, on the thigh. I didn't have an IV,
Yeah.
hep lock. I didn't have anything on me, so
Right.
So yeah, they had to give an
We'll talk about
injection
that.
of
But
that.
one of the things that we realized in the class is that it's
Yeah.
better to just not have any, I guess, temptation for any sort of like pain medication, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like you said, your body is made to do it.
And
You
then
can do it.
matomba.
Chicas. And so with that one,
Mhm.
so you were actually like, you know what? I'm not even gonna get a hep lock
No, hep
thing
lock,
because
yeah.
you didn't like needles to
Mhm.
begin with.
And I've
you're
never
like,
had an
"Well,"
IV in the first place, so I'm like, I don't even want to try.
Right.
So I didn't have anything. And the thing is about the temptation is that if you have a hep lock, it's easy. You have to have a drip water fluid going through your IV for epidural, like 30 minutes before they give you epidural.
Mhm.
So that has to be in place. And it takes another 30 minutes for epidural to start actually fully working. And if you don't even have the IV in place, by the time you're already far transition, they won't really be able to get your vein. They wouldn't be able to give you an IV in the first place. And then 30 minutes after that, you won't even be able to get an epidural. So that, obviously, what do you call it? It removes.
The temptation because
Yeah, you won't
it
be
would
able
be too
to.
late anyways.
It'll be too late anyways.
To get one.
Right.
Um,
So that's what it was helpful.
So it's good. It was,
Postpartum.
during labor. One of the things that we tried a lot of different things. We asked them for everything we could think of, like a big peanut ball, a big bouncing ball, like
Yeah.
blankets to use as counter pressure on the the what is it, the squat bar to put on the bed.
Yeah.
What else? And then also I brought like a little speaker and
For
had
music.
some nice music playing
Yeah.
and tried to make a nice spa in there in the bathroom. Had nice
Oh yeah, I did use the
hot
bathroom.
water in the tub,
The
and I think
tub,
there
yeah.
were jets.
Yeah,
it was
like a jacuzzi. It was
There was
nice.
a jacuzzi
It
and
helped the
stuff,
pain,
and
definitely. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that helped a lot with the pain because the warm water, the jacuzzi, the music. You were feeling great. I was feeling awful, but
I wasn't
I was
feeling
pretty sick.
great. I wasn't feeling
you
great.
seemed like you were feeling great. I mean,
They
you were
took-
humming along.
They
with each
already
contraction.
broke my water bag, so that was not fun
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
that wasn't fun.
No, the entire thing was not fun. But yeah, the humming
anyways.
helped me. I just hum when the contraction gets higher. I love my
But Elena ended up being 6 pounds.
6
right?
pounds 6 ounces.
Yeah, which is a good size.
Yeah, you're perfect.
size.
Very perfect.
My gosh, was she strong. And I was like, I mean, she's tiny, and I don't want to break her or drop her, but at the same time, she's like pushing my arms open. I'm like, what the heck?
Oh,
So
it's
yeah,
like
strong
in
baby.
few
All of our
weeks-
babies are strong. Like
Oh
that.
yeah, in a few weeks she got able to hold her head up and look around.
Yeah, it was like, gosh, it was 1 week, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
or 9 days or something. I lifted her up, tried to do the hold
And
to stop her crying and sleep. Yeah, we went from delivery to neonatal, and we were able to sleep a bit, which was good. Able to eat. You love the food.
Oh, Yeah, I've been laboring and I was just hungry. So when it brought all this food, the hospital food, I'm like, give me everything. Bah, just baked potato, green beans, and brown rice, everything. Just yeah, it was very awesome. I loved that. I was starved. Oh my gosh, I forgot. And then the postpartum, the pain. What do you call that pain? Afterbirths. The afterbirth pain. I mean, people told me that would happen, but I didn't expect it. It was really painful. And they gave me some Advil, or what do you call it? Is it Tylenol to help with
like
the
Motrin, but like
Motrin, strong.
It was like 10 Motrin
Yeah,
in
strong.
one pill.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and that helped until the next 4 hours or so. Anyways, that was that,
and they taught us about purple crying and stuff,
Oh,
which
yes.
was good to know. They had like
Oh,
a
yeah.
video always playing on a certain channel
yeah.
telling us about, sometimes babies will just cry and you don't, you feed them, you change them and everything, and they just will keep crying, and so
Yeah.
you just need to not freak out about it and
Yeah.
just, let them sleep in their room or cry in their room or wherever they are and just walk away, and that's okay, because if you keep saying what's wrong, then you start getting frustrated and, you might do something you regret.
Yeah, or if you're tired, then you just put the baby somewhere.
Right.
Because I was first time mom. I'm like, I don't want to lift this baby. I
Right.
don't want to
And
put
they're
this
like,
baby
do not
down.
hold them if you're feeling sleepy.
Yeah, just put them in
Make
their
sure
crib.
you give them to someone else to put them on the crib. Yeah,
Right.
whatever.
I was like,
And
yeah,
so those
that's
were really good
important.
reminders they had that helped with SIDS and stuff like
Oh,
that.
right.
Accidental dropping of
Dropping of a
children and
baby.
all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean,
it helped.
those were good. Yeah, because once we got home, and
I mean,
and
baby
she
was
had that
fine.
crying.
The baby was fine until we got home, and then life
Yeah.
began.
Well, she was fine because we would give her to the nurses every
Oh yeah,
so
the nurses
often.
helped.
The nurse is like, oh great, so they would hold her for 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
And so we could sleep a little. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we were in the hospital about 3 days roughly, almost
Yeah, 3
2.5
days.
or 3.
Yeah.
I wanted to milk it for what it was worth.
Mm-hmm.
for
Since
all
they're
it was
helping
worth,
and
yeah.
all that. But the thing is, you don't really rest at the hospital. You don't sleep. They check you every 3 hours, 2
Right.
hours. Blood
That's
check,
true. Yeah.
checkup.
You do get
Yeah, they
checked on
checked
a
the
lot.
blood pressure. It was going down after the birth and it was reducing, but the swelling didn't quite stop. I was swelling for a little while. I think I must have some mild preeclampsia. Because right after that, it became even more. My eyes were affected and head was hurting a lot, and it was really, really not.
It might have been a
not
little
good.
pre-diabetic as well.
It might have been that.
But yeah, there was
The high blood pressure and all that, all rolled up in one.
Yeah. Oh, I remember then we got home and you actually I think you'd already prepared some, but you made like this really good Naija food. It was like
Ogbono,
my
I think it
favorite.
was
Ogbono
ogbono,
is
yeah.
my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so sick that my throat was like almost closed to where I could hardly
Oh
breathe.
yeah.
And I had
Yes.
and that was another bad thing about being sick is throughout basically right as you were giving birth, I put on a mask because I didn't know what I had.
Oh right.
So I had a mask on the whole time, and I was just like, please don't let my wife get sick. Please don't let this baby get sick. And so I just wore this mask the whole time. This was years before
COVID.
and
then that Kurumbe.
and so I wore that goofy masks all through.
Yeah, the first parent weight gain came on, and we both. You didn't lose any after the 20 pounds, and I gained
we got
more.
weight. We gained weight leading up to Elena's birth, and then we kind of kept it. Oh, gracias. And yeah, so we were. Well, yeah, there's some photos of us. We look kind of rounded, very different from how we look now.
It was an okay experience, but it wasn't traumatic or anything. Because everything leading up to it, we hear stories and everyone telling us their first time birth stories, and it was really just, oh my gosh, and then did this happen and then that happened. The first time you don't know much that's about your body, and of course it's a little crazy, but it wasn't a bad experience.
Right.
It was
I have to tell you, stop researching stuff, stop watching all this.
No,
not researching, but
no.
stop watching these videos.
I did not watch. I made sure for a fact I didn't watch any C-section. I didn't watch any epidural being put in. Any of those things I didn't. I just want to see a natural birth, and a very encouraging one. So that's what I looked for, and I saw a lot of that.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not watching this, because if you put it in your mind, this negativity, all this fear will come out when the time is real, and it'll come out, and you're like, oh, I can't do this
It's
anymore.
too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
So I know there's no other way. This has to be way. I said, one thing I held on to is my mother telling me her story of her first birth, and they had to induce, and it was pitocin. She felt like it was like a hot habanero going through her bloodstream. And if you are familiar with the general hospital in Nigeria back then, this was like 35 years ago, where there's no AC, there's no fan. They were sweating like crazy, and there's they still have to do it, and then the nurses yelling at them. So all this didn't happen with that pressure and all this physical pain and all that, and their husbands are not even allowed to be there to help them support. So they have all this craziness happening, and they still have to give birth. There's no augmentation, or there's no like let's give you epidural, let's do this for the pain and this. So even with all that stuff, she was able to do it and give birth, and she was fine. I'm like, what about me? What excuse would I say I have when I have this fancy luxury hospital, everything looking shiny and fine?
One of our friends,
jacuzzi.
One of our friends from Colombia calls it un spa.
A spa.
It's un spa. Compared to like Colombian hospitals, it's un spa. Aquí.
Oh my gosh, I can't complain. It was perfect. It was a good experience. AC blasting on me, it has to happen. All these our ancestors have done it so many times, and they did it with less amenities. What will my excuse be? I can do it. I know I can do it,